We are back. Did you miss me? YouTube is fair. Let me get my other ones going. Facebook. What are we doing? No, go back. Go live. Yes. I had to start off with a smile. It's Real Estate Tuesday, people. Let's get Instagram going. I had to start off with a smile. I'm bringing the sunshine today, baby. Did you miss me? It's been a minute since I've done alive. So I'm excited to be here. So I had to bring you some sunshine today. Had to bring you my favorite colors today. So my name is Toria Howard. If you don't know who I am, I'm a real estate educator here in the beautiful city of Detroit and the surrounding areas. But just because I am in Detroit does not mean I cannot assist you all across this beautiful United States. I know real estate agents all across this country from the West Coast, East Coast, down South, wherever you need it. I have what you need. And I moniker myself the real estate educator because, as you can see, I'm in my classroom. Hi, Regina. I'm actually an educator, but I educate people on how to buy homes properly. You have to buy like an investor. And once you buy like an investor, you will have the upside. I'm so excited today because I'm here for my client, not here for my client, but I usually come. But my client is clear to close, and I'm so excited for her because it was a long road. She had other real estate agents before me, and everything just aligned when she got with me because this is what I do, people. So we're closing on Thursday. I can't wait for her to get the keys to her new home, and she bought right, so she won't be house poor, and that's what we're talking about today. Because a lot of people try to talk people out of purchasing homes because it's a liability. It's a liability. Yes, it is a liability. But if you buy smart and if you do the proper financial literacy techniques, it will not be a liability. And I show you how to do that. I have 2 ebooks. One is Journey for Your Castle, which helps first-time home buyers go from concept mindset, because you have to change your mindset, to goal setting the closing table. And then I have House Rich and Money Smart, how to turn your home into a wealth building powerhouse, showing homeowners how to turn their liability into an asset. So I do this. I've created materials for you because I don't want you to fumble a $200,000 bag like I did. Now, I've told my story before on how I fumbled a $200,000 bag. I had a home in Memphis that I bought back in 2010. It was a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath home, and it was my 2,700 square feet, big kitchen, large living room, separate dining room, all of the things, right? 150,000 for this home. And I stayed in it for 9 years and did nothing. I didn't save for maintenance. I didn't fix it up. I didn't do anything. But with being a first time home buyer, I didn't really realize I needed to do that. I didn't know, been renting, just thinking things would go. I had a home warranty, homeowners insurance, thought that was going to handle it. And it did not. And I ended up falling behind on my mortgage, and I had to sell my home in a short sale. And what a short sale is, basically, everybody get paid but you. So I had to sell my house at a short sale for 167,000. And if I would have kept my home from 2020, sold in 2019, 2020, when the pandemic hit, it went from 167 to 225. By 2021, it went from 225 to 250. So it was gradually growing. From 2021 to 2022, it went from 225 to 250. 2023, no, 275. I'm sorry. 2022 to 2021 to 2022, it went from 275, from 225 to 275. Then 2023, when I moved back to my home in Detroit, so what up, though, to all my Detroit people, it was at over 300,000. 325,000 to be exact is the worth. Now it's worth almost 375,000. If I would have kept that home and sold it in 2023, I would have had at least $200,000. So don't fumble the bag like me. That's why I'm here. right? Don't fumble the bag like I did. That's why I'm here to teach you how not to fumble the bag. I fumbled $200,000. So here's how not to fumble $200,000. So we're talking about house poor, which equals life poor. You gotta is budgeting your for the lifestyle after you close. So celebrating my client who is clear to close, and I'm gonna give her these same strategies because I've been trying to, baby spoon feed her. I don't want to give you too much information at one time. So it inspired me because she's about to close on Thursday, and I'm going to give her these facts as well. So what is house poor? So house poor is when you have too much mortgage, too much expenses, and it's eating up your income. So you don't have any money to save for travel, emergency savings, any type of savings, or enjoying life as a whole. And it can be very detrimental. And a lot of people run to sell their home because of this. So, for example, you buy a home for 220,000, and you have a home mortgage of 190,000. I mean 190,000. 100 and I mean 1,900, 1,900. But between property taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, it's really $2,400. If your take home pay is only 4,500, that's over 50% of your income, leaving you a little to nothing other than goals. Okay? So you have to understand, once you purchase your home, there's other factors in there. You have your mortgage and you have your escrow account, right? So your escrow account is going to have your taxes in there. It's going to have your homeowner's insurance, right? So you have your PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance. That is your whole total mortgage payment. And if you have a smart lender, they would have set that up for you because you don't want to have to pay all those separate bills. So it comes together. So when you know that number, you can budget better because you only should be living off of 30% of your income, not 50. So that's the thing. So you have to make sure that you're buying smart and understanding your expenses. So you might have been paying $1,900 a month in rent, but in all actuality, you're about to pay $2,400 because you got all the other expenses. Plus, you got to eat, car note, car insurance, all these other things. So you got to make sure that you are buying correctly. So owning a home should elevate your lifestyle, not eliminate it. Okay. That's what you should be thinking about. Elevation, not eliminate. So, too many first time home buyers budget only for their principal and interest, forgetting the rest. So, you're forgetting the hidden costs, which are really not hidden, but you can say they're hidden. Property taxes. And in Detroit, it's 2 to 3% of home value yearly in many Detroit areas. So when you buy in Detroit and our real estate is going up, your taxes are going to slowly increase. But they're trying to find a way to combat that, so it won't be too much. Then you have homeowners insurance, which is typically $100 to $150 a month. Then your utilities, water, gas, electric. Depending on how big your house is, between $200 to $350 a month. Now, if you have now in the wintertime, it might be a little bit more because DTE like to tax you. Okay. I don't know about nobody else, but is it just me? But DTE like to tax you during the wintertime. I'm talking about like gas be on 1,000. Wow. I don't know what it is. So, hey, Allegra. So you have to be mindful and also look at your spikes, like your changes in your electric, like know when it's low, like know what you can do. Energy saving things that you can do, do be old school, put some plastic on the windows, whatever you got to do to keep that air in so you won't have to pump so much gas out. And then you have internet, trash, lawn care, right? And if you live in an association, you have HOA fee. So you have to factor in all of these things. So when you're sitting down and you're budgeting for your first home, you need to understand taxes and insurance, principal and interest are not the only things you're going to pay. Okay. You have your homeowner's insurance. You have your property taxes that are in there. Those are the four things that are going to combine to your total mortgage payment: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Yeah, solar, people you use solar if it, but I don't know how solar really works, But Michigan, the sun starts to disappear a few months. So, I know the sun is still out, but you know what I mean. But yeah, solar is an option. So we're talking about those. Those are the four things that's going to be coupled with your mortgage. But you still have home warranty. You definitely need a home warranty. If you don't have a home warranty, you're not insuring your appliances. So that's probably depending on the services that what you want covered, because you got to read your fine print. You got to have, that's between $75 to $200 a month. Then your utilities, okay. Then, internet, trash, and lawn. Because, unless you got somebody that's going to cut your lawn for you, you can save on that. But if not, you had to pay a lawn service. I'm not cutting grass, so I will be paying a lawn service, until I give me a man. But anyway, he probably won't cut the grass either. But, those are some of the things. And if you live in an association, home warranty is definitely different from homeowners insurance. So if you have a HOA fee, that's another thing. So you have to, no, people do not like to read. So when you have those type of things, you have to factor in all of those costs. I told my buyer who is closing on Thursday that you have to think about all of these things, right? So she factored that in, and that's why she bought right. So let me give you another example. So if you're pre-approved for 250,000, consider targeting 200 to 225,000 to leave room for lifestyle and savings. That's what you were thinking about. You don't have, just because you get pre-approved for 250,000 does not mean you have to take the whole thing. You don't have to. It's not a requirement. Okay, you can take what you want. I was approved for 160,000. I only spent 150, and that was comfortable because everything that I had ended up being like $1,200 a month. Outside of utilities and like my homeowners, but my PITI, which is principal insurance, principal interest, insurance, and taxes, that was 1,200. So that's the thing. You don't have to take the whole entire amount. So the other thing I want to mention is maintenance fund equals peace of mind, because this is what broke me. I had a garage break, a refrigerator break, HVAC system run over. I had a gutter issue. I had some rotten wood issue. It was a lot of things. When I first bought my home, what was that? 2 months after I bought my home, I had a whole entire flood in my house. When I pulled up to the house and opened the garage, it was raining in my garage. And when I went in my house, it was raining from every light fixture. So this was 2 months after buying my house. So that's the thing. Like, I didn't have any money saved. Good thing that I had homeowners insurance, but the caveat to the homeowners insurance is this. They don't tell you that you only can have so many claims. And my claim was over $30,000. My whole house was wrecked, just about, especially my whole lower floor. They had to do drywall, everything, ceilings, everything, light fixtures, everything. So depending on the amount of their homeowners insurance, you can't have another claim in the same year or 5 years. They talk about I tried to do a claim like some years later, and they talk about I couldn't do nothing because I had a high dollar claim 5 years prior. Like, it was 5 years ago. So you have to understand that. So this is why the maintenance fund equals peace of mind. So home maintenance isn't optional. On average, you'll spend 1% to 2% of your home's value per year on repairs and upkeep. So what I'm telling my clients to do is, if your home is worth $250,000, you need $2,500 saved every single month for maintenance. You need to be doing walkarounds. You need to be doing spring maintenance, winter maintenance, fall maintenance, especially if you're in an area that has a lot of saturation, snow, rain, whatever. You need to make sure that make sure your gutters are clean, making sure your roof can breathe, making sure trees are not over it, making sure, foundation is good, like all of these different things, right? So another example, if you have a $200,000 home, $2,000 to $4,000 annual for maintenance is optimum. So here's the breakdown of that, right? So roof repair can cost $600 to $1,200. Now, sometimes your homeowner's insurance will cover that, depending on what happens to the roof, or if it's just wear and tear, they might not. But that's 600 to a 1,200 roof repair. Now, a whole roof can cost you between $10,000 to $20,000, depending on how big your house is and what kind of roof it is. Um, you might be able to squeeze in five if you don't have to get the whole thing. But a furnace is $3,500 plus. Water heater is $1,000. Emergency plumbing between 400 to 800, but I would say between 4 and 2,000, because of the fact that you just never know, especially if you live in areas that are older. You just never know what the plumbing issues are from the street. And a lot of times, you can probably get some help from the city to help you do some things, but they're not going to do everything. They're only going to do the parts that they're responsible for. So here's a strategy tip. So set up high yielding savings accounts labeled as home maintenance fund and auto transfer $150 a month. $150 a month. We spend that on Uber Eats. You spend that at brunch for one person. You spend that going out to eat, other frivolous things. $150 a month in a high yielding savings account. You want something that's going to be between 4 to 5%. So it's not many at 5%, but you got some that's in between that 4 to 5. So you want it labeled as home emergency fund and get it directly, take it out and put it somewhere else, so you don't have to think about it. If you have it where you can set up direct deposit at your job, I used to do this when I was saving for my house. I would have it directly taken from my check and put it to another bank account. So I didn't miss it. I didn't miss it. So another thing I wanted to talk about is property taxes and escrow surprises. So these things has happened where things increase. So your mortgage payment can change yearly as taxes go up, and it budget as if they will. So that's why you always should have some leeway, some room. So like I said, in Detroit, our taxes go up 2 to 3%. Taxes are 2 to 3% of your home value. But once your home value, once they reassess it and your home value continues to grow, that number is going to change. So if your taxes increase by $600 per year, that's $50 extra per month that you have to budget. So understand that. If you're not ready, your escrow will come up short and you'll have a lump sum due the next year. So you don't want that to happen. You don't want the lump sums. So you need to make sure that you're looking at the trends. So once you become a homeowner, you have to think like an investor. You have to look at the trends in your neighborhood and how fast your appreciation is increasing. Because if you don't see the appreciation increasing, then you're not going to be able to keep track of your taxes. So in some neighborhoods in Detroit, you have a 7 to 10% appreciation year on year, depending on where you are. So it's 7 to 10% year on year. So that is something that you got to be mindful of, because that's going to increase your taxes once they reassess it. National average is 2 to 5% year on year appreciation value. But if you buy in a good area, it's going to be 7 to 10%. So just think about that. So one thing that you can do is check your local the local property tax assessment every January. So once you know your mileage rate and whether you're eligible for any exemptions, like principal residence exemption in Michigan. So look for your exemptions. You'll know where you can get some savings from. So know your exemptions in your state. So in Michigan, we have something called the principal residence exemption in Michigan. So when you're doing your taxes and all of those things, and looking at your taxes for the year, make sure that you're looking at that. So another thing that I want to bring up, because I'm celebrating my clear to close with my client who's closing on Thursday. So you have to have a lifestyle balance, after closing, right? So don't sacrifice your quality of life for a home. Please don't do that. Budget for joy, travel, self-care, your maintenance. Make sure you do that. So that's why I said when you get a pre-approved for $250,000, look for something between 200 and 225. Give yourself some leeway, right? So, for example, instead of making out your budget on a bigger house, buy comfortably and still afford brunch, vacation, kids' activities. 'Cause our kids are a bill. They always got something they got to do. Field trip. And it's expensive to do all this stuff some of these kids want to do, like the gymnastics and the cheerleading and the travel baseball and AAU. And if they play basketball during the year, football, do all these things, especially if you have a four-star athlete that doing every sport every season. Listen, you are going to come out some money. So you got to be able to have, it's a real wealth balance. That's what it's called. You want to have a real wealth balance. So you don't want to overspend on your home and can't have that balance. And that's why a lot of people are house poor, because they get the glitz and the glamour, and they get these goggles on like, oh, I can buy this a $400,000 house, when really you should only be looking at something that's 300 to 350, so that you can you have other expenses. Just because you get pre-approved for something doesn't mean you max it out. That's like maxing out your credit card. You need to make sure your home expenses, and I'm talking about your principal, your insurance, your interest, your insurance, your taxes, your PITI, okay, is, at that, well, I should say your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, your utilities, your home warranty, and your other things that you have to maintain your home is at that 30% mark and not 50 or more, or you're going to be house poor. You want to keep it at the 30%. So the last thing is, here are some action steps to avoid being house poor. One of the main things is buy like an investor. You want to buy with built-in equity, and if you have some money saved, this would be a good time for you to check out the FHA 203K loan, because you can buy a house on the worst house on the best block and fix it up and have built-in equity. So for instance, if you buy a house for 100,000 and it needs $40,000 worth of work, right? Your initial investment is 140,000, but you got a home in your neighborhood that sold for 200,000. Your home value is going to be just if it's the same, if it's comparable, it's going to be the same, so that you have an upside of $60,000. That's what you want to do. So another thing is, calculate your total monthly costs. Like I said, your PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, your utilities and your maintenance. And your utilities include water, gas, lights, trash, lawn care, all of the things that you want to include in that you need to make sure. And you want to keep your housing under 35% of your take-home pay. And that's the tippity top. 30% is optimum, but if you have to edge it up to 35, that's where you want to be. You want to start in an emergency home fund. You want to have 3 months of home expenses. So like I said before, take the money directly out of your check, put it into the high yields and savings account, $150 a month for your home maintenance. If you can do more, do more, but $150 a month for home maintenance. And you want to make sure you can get to that at least $2,000 to $4,000 a year savings. Because I said, insurance might not pay for something. Your home warranty might not pay for something. You have to make sure you're reading your bylaws, your fine print, and you might have to get some riders on some of the stuff that you have. If you have jewelry, furs, any type of different things. And let's not forget, if you're living in places where it's flood insurance is outside of homeowners insurance. Earthquake insurance is outside of homeowners insurance. Wind is a separate rider. You have to make sure that you understand where you live. Like when I was in Memphis, you had to have an earthquake. You had to have earthquake insurance and flood insurance, depending on where you were. Here, depending on where you are, you got to have flood insurance. So, depending on where you live and the structure of your climate, you need to know the different types of things that are covered, because homeowners insurance does not cover every inclement weather situation. It does not cover flood. It does not cover earthquake, and sometimes it doesn't cover wind. It might get you with the roof on your shingles, but if a tree fall on your house, that type of thing. But You have to understand your riders and what is covered. Because if you don't, you're going to be thinking, I'm covered, and you're not. So, and also revisit your budget every 6 months. Revisit your homeowner's insurance. Compare. See who has the best rates. You can switch. They're not loyal. They'll get rid of you in a heartbeat. Shoot, your mortgage company not even loyal. They'll sell your mortgage. That's another story for a different day. So do what's best for you and your budget. You can switch your homeowner's insurance. You can switch your home warranty. You can do all of those things. And don't buy based on what the lender says. Buy based on the lifestyle you want to live. If you know you want a vacation, you know you want to go to brunch, you know you have kids that are in activities, and you know you want your self-care, you want to keep getting your hair cut, your nails done, your hair, all of that type of stuff, buy based on your budget of 30% of your home of your income. Because if you don't, you're going to be house poor. So I just showed you, just rewatch it if you missed it. I just showed you 6 different things on how to not be house poor. Okay, because I want you to, I want to show you how to turn that home into and from a liability to an asset, and I have what you need. So make sure that you understand that it's an educational thing. You got to do certain amount of things to do, you have to do to get in, but you have to elevate it once you get in. And that's what a lot of people don't. And that's what I didn't do when I fumbled that $200,000 bag. I did not elevate my financial literacy. Because when you start getting into different vehicles and different things, you have to increase your knowledge. I didn't increase my knowledge. So don't just buy your castle, right? Learn how to keep it without going broke. So my ebooks, Journey to Your Castle, will help you get in. House Rich and Money Smart, how to turn your home to a wealth building powerhouse, will show you how to turn it from a liability to an asset. And it breaks down everything from, like I said, first time home buyer needs, all the way to closing table. That's Journey to Your Castle. And then showing you how to budget once you get in, how to budget, how to break things down, how to know the different amounts of um, your services and the things that you're going to need. So thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Thank you for subscribing, trying to, striving to get to that 1,000 mark. I appreciate all of you, my subscribers here on YouTube. Thank you for all my followers on Facebook and Instagram. I appreciate you all. So please like, follow, share this live with someone you think who's thinking about buying a home in 2025 or 2026. And please subscribe to my channel. But that's all I have for you today. About to go eat me some lunch before I have to go get these kiddos. And everybody have an amazingly beautiful, blessed day. And I'll see you back next week. Probably be Wednesday because I probably have a meeting next week. I didn't have a meeting today. So typically I'll be coming on Wednesdays. Have an amazing day.